Let's fly with Captain Tappers.
Hi, Captain Tappers here. Finally, I'm back. More about that later. A very warm welcome on board this inaugural Tapper Airways flight from Glasgow to the Isle of Islay. The aircraft has been given the green light following exhaustive testing, though I wish I could say the same for the captain. So let's get on board the flight deck to begin our pre-flight checks.
Good afternoon, Captain.
Good afternoon, Chelsey. How are you today?
I'm great today, Captain. Looking forward to later.
What's happening later? Oh, she's gone. Oh well, I guess she's getting the cabin ready. No doubt I'll find out later. So let's take a look at the flight plan. Today's flight is just a short hop, being 63 nautical miles, around 45 minutes flying time. We hope to reach an altitude of 12,000 feet, though that might be a challenge today. Due to the short duration of the flight, there will be no cabin service, much to the passengers' disgust.
Captain, we're ready for boarding.
Okay, so we need to get the plane set up as quickly as possible so we can get to our destination. So the first thing we now need to do is check the weather at our current location. So let's do that now. So 122.0.
Echo, Golf, Papa, Foxtrot, Airport Information, Delta 1920, Zulu, Weather, Wind 262, at 8, Visibility 10, Sky Clear, Temperature 18, Dew Point 9er, QNH 1022, Advise on initial contact, you have information, Delta, Echo, Golf, Papa.
So 8 knot wind from 262 and clear conditions. Sounds pretty good. Time to tell the passengers to buckle up and set nav lights. So nav lights are set, and let's turn off that warning message like so, and then we need to external power, so let's turn that off now and then we'll look at the flight chart. You can see we're at gate 16 here, so we'll be using taxiway Lima to the end and then right and then all the way Alpha until runway 23. FMC set and turn off auto feather warning light. No warning indicators on the panel, which is good. I think it's slowly coming back to me.
Number 1, keep it tight, surface wind 270 degrees, 11 knots, inbound 777 at 12 miles.
75, traffic inside, report on final.
Right, I think we're pretty much ready for pushback.
Captain, the cabin is secure. All passengers are aboard.
Okay, let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome on board this Tappers Airways flight to Islay. Please place all your belongings underneath the seats in front of you or to the overhead lockers, ensuring the aisle is clear in case of an emergency. Once you are seated, please fasten your seatbelt securely.
So, a relatively short pushback, just making sure nothing is approaching from either side.
Once again, Captain Tappers and the crew would like to welcome you on board this Beechcraft B1900D for a flight to Islay. Before we proceed with the safety demonstration, please ensure all portable electronic devices are in a flight safe mode and the cabin crew must be informed immediately if any electronic device is damaged, hot, produces smoke, is lost or falls into the seat structure. My name is Chelsey and I'm your chief flight attendant today. I am on board for your comfort but primarily for your safety. May I now have your attention as we demonstrate our safety procedures and equipment. The emergency exits and brace position to be adopted in the event of an emergency are shown on the safety card, which is in the seat pocket in front of you. In the unlikely event of evacuation, proceed immediately to your nearest exit. The exits on board are located 2 in front of the cabin, 1 either side and 2 over wing exits, 1 either side in the middle of the cabin. Please take a moment to locate the nearest exit which may be behind you. If you are instructed to leave the aircraft urgently, the emergency floor guidance system will guide you to the nearest exit. You must leave all your belongings behind. seatbelt is fastened, adjusted and unfastened like this. Your life jacket is under your seat. If required, remove the jacket from its container and pass it over your head. Cross the tapes at the back and tie it underneath the jacket in a double knot. Do not inflate until you are outside the aircraft. The jacket is inflated by pulling the red toggle downwards. Should it need more air, blow it has a light and a whistle. We also carry children's flotation equipment. In preparation for takeoff, please ensure that your seatbelts are fastened, tray tables and seats are upright with the armrest down, and hand luggage is placed under the seat in front of you. May we remind you that we operate a non-smoking policy. We wish you a pleasant flight.
That's 5, landing your discretion. The Gamma hangar, 270 degrees 11 knots.
Heavy 5, clear to land on the 3 till facing southwest.
Right, all warning indicators are off. We now need to do a control check. For left, for right, up, down, rudder, left, right. Control check complete.
Charlie Romeo, contact Scottish 127.275.
7275, thanks for the help. Have a good night, 0 Charlie Romeo.
Right, one last check before we go out. Everything looks fine. Yep, happy with that. Okay, right. I think we are ready to go. So increase throttle slightly.
Speed 160.4. Emirates 25, Glasgow Tower, continue approach runway 23. Circus wind 270 degrees 11 knots, report 4 DME.
Glasgow 4 DME, Emirates 25.
So remembering the chart, it should be a case of carrying on to the end here, turning right, and then following taxiway Alpha all the way to the end, and that should take us to runway 23.
Good evening, Tower 2 at Gulf Lima, establish 6 miles.
Now continue approach runway 23. You just become number 1, report 3D.
Wilco, Tower 2 at Gulf Lima.
One of the most basic things you must do when learning to fly is know how to read charts, be that SIDS and stars, and of course the airport diagrams as well, so you know where you're going. That's something I'm trying to do more in my videos. I'm pretty good around Glasgow, but it's going to be a bit of a challenge at other airports.
Runway 25, runway 23 clear to land, circus wind 270 degrees 11 knots.
Clear to land, runway 23, Emirates 25.
Flap set.
Stover 28 Golf Lima, taxi stand 18.
Stand 18.
Is it 579 Tango?
Easy 579 Tango, Glasgow Tower, continue approach runway 23. You're number 2. There will be a Tomahawk orbiting at the end of the downwind leg, left hand.
Copy traffic, continue, is it 579 Tango?
Easy 579 Tango, report 3 DME.
Welcome, is it 579 Tango?
Now I can hear another aircraft behind me, so it looks like we are not the only one that's going to be taking off shortly.
Emirates 25, vacate left, taxi stand 30, good night.
Left 30 all the way, Emirates 25, connect.
30, good night. 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 30, good
Chelsey 129er, taxi stand 14.
Taking stand 14, just one turn, thanks.
Now I must admit the weather here looks pretty good. Let's just hope it stays that way for the entire flight.
Easy 579 Tango, Bay Cape next left, taxi stands 4.
Next left, stand 4, 578 Tango.
So we are now approaching the holding point. And stop. So we now need to set the landing lights on, taxi lights off, these set to flight mode, and I think we are ready to go.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captain has advised that we are now cleared for takeoff.
Increase power. Nothing coming to the right. Now this is the moment where I'm thinking, have I forgotten to do something? Well, I hope not. Otherwise this could be a very short flight. So we're now approaching runway 23. And what I'm going to do is let you enjoy the sound of the takeoff. Okay, gear already up. That's fine. And now turning to follow our flight path. Climbing at 2,000 feet per minute, so I'm happy with that. Flaps can come up. And it's goodbye to Glasgow. Engage autopilot and yaw dampener. Let the computer do the work. Climb rate now 1,500 feet per minute. A little bit blustery outside, but it shouldn't be too bad, hopefully. Sick bags won't be required. We can now turn off auto feather. That's done. It looks a pretty decent day out there. So it will be about 10 minutes before we get to our cruise altitude, I think. And the passengers will be happy. They've got a view. outside the window. Let's increase the climb rate slightly. Right, I thought I was originally climbing at 1500 feet per minute, but I definitely am now. So yeah, what a journey it's been. If you watched my previous video, you know what I've sort of been going through this year, and getting back into the flight deck, I had mixed emotions really. Wasn't sure. I suppose really I've been putting it off a little bit. I did feel really nervous. It sounds really strange, but I felt quite nervous about doing this, and hopefully we get to the other end in one piece. That will be a good start, but I do feel really rusty. It's as if I'm making my first flight. Kind of strange. So many things to remember. I haven't written anything down. Maybe I should have done that. But the passengers are happy. They're finally going somewhere. It's been over a year. It's crazy how long it's been. But it does feel good to be back in the air. And I think today, with the weather that we've got, if you're looking out the window, sun's out, not too many clouds. Been really unlucky. If you've been on board with my previous flights, we always seem to fly in what I call pea soup conditions. It's just grey skies. I always fly with real weather, so whatever it's doing at the time of the flight, that's what we get. I suppose that's one of the beauties of using Active Sky 16. I think that's an oil refinery down there. That's like I think that's our turning point. But the scenery looks beautiful. FSX still has some miles left in it, despite most people using P3D these days. So we need to turn off that warning message, and we should be turning now. Yep, there we go. Nice view down below. Looks pretty amazing. So yeah, of course this is an 18 leg journey, and as I say, this is only leg 6. And obviously the rate I've been making these, it could be another 10 years before I finish. And I know I've had a few false starts before, and hopefully if this video is well received, then it's going to be 2 weeks and it will be the next video. It's just strange. I suppose it's been so long that I've forgotten how to do a lot of this stuff. Obviously the editing and putting everything together. Obviously now I've got a little intro which I'm really pleased with, so I hope that I hope you like that. And of course got our own plane now. Got a few things that if this does go well we might end up with a bigger plane, but this is one of the few planes that I'm not too bad actually flying. There is something that I forgot to do, and I did it in all my other videos, believe it or not, and that is reverse thrust. In fact, we are now climbing 10,000 feet. Seatbelts can come off.
The seatbelt sign has been turned off. You are free to move about the cabin. However, we encourage you to remain seated with your belts fastened at all times in case of unexpected turbulence.
So Chelsey just told the passengers they can remove their seatbelts. Not much space really to walk about in the cabin, but they can stretch their legs as long as I can keep the plane reasonably stable. welcome back.
Turn left heading 200, average 1732.
So ATC are now giving us our descent instructions. So we set this now. So we will be descending to 2,900. So literally we were at our cruise altitude for about 3 minutes. Usual thing, ATC getting a little bit sweaty with us. Thing is, I'm approaching 200 knots already, so I'm going to have to reduce engine power. And now we should be able to descend a bit quicker. Whoops, forgot to do that. Okay, so we will select heading select. So we're not following the normal flight path we had earlier. We're now relying on ATC to give us directions. I don't know if that's a good idea or not. So as you can see, we've still got pretty good weather, which I'm happy about. And I just hope that we're going to have the same on approach. At this current rate of descent, it's probably going to be about 15 minutes or so. Landing lights can go on, seatbelt sign back on.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captain has turned on the seatbelt sign. Please return to your seat and refasten your seatbelt.
Right, so the passengers have got to get back in their seats now. Yeah, it's going to be probably between 10 and 15 minutes before we are back on the ground. So yeah, very, very short flight today. It's probably just as well. It gives me a chance to relearn my flying skills, if that's what I'm going to call them. Turn right 230. And acknowledge.
Heading 230, descend 2,900, average 1732.
I would like to take this opportunity to give a shout out to a fellow YouTuber by the name of A Shadowbox. He's currently doing a great series on Air Hauler 2, and I do believe he's using the same aircraft as me. This is a great series that starts off by building your own company and flying your own aircraft. You can choose wherever you want to go. It's also got a great business element to it, and I do really recommend you give his channel a look. So I've included a link to his channel in the notes below. Coming up to 7,000 feet. So now we need to check the weather at our destination by tuning to 122.025.
Echo, Golf, Papa, India, airport information, November 1920, Zulu, weather, wind 353 at 6, visibility 10, sky clear, temperature 16, dew point 7, QNH 1022, advise on initial contact, you have information, November, Echo, Golf, Papa, India.
353 at 6 knots. And clear conditions. Wow, this could indeed be a first then, a clear approach, very light wind, even better than what we had at Glasgow. And whilst we have a few spare moments before we prepare for landing, I would like to give a shout out to a good friend of mine who also happens to have her own YouTube channel. Her name is Bianca, and she started her channel about 6 months ago. She creates lots of different content ranging from makeup and fashion tips to travelogues and tech reviews. Whilst you're waiting for the next flight, do check out her channel and say Captain Tappers sent you. I've included a link to her channel in the description below. And who knows, she may even choose to join the staff of Tappers Airways one day. Turning left 220 and acknowledge.
Turn left heading 220, Amherst 1732.
Approaching 4,000 feet, and so far no sign of any crazy turbulence. So I think now would be a great time to give you some facts about our destination today, the Isle of Islay. The world's first commercial wave-powered generation station was built there in the year 2000. Its capital, Bowmore, is home to almost 1,000 inhabitants, of the total population on the island of 3,228. The largest economic activity is whisky, surprise surprise, with 8 working whisky distilleries. Fishing and tourism is also popular on the island. So I'm sure our passengers will be doing their very best, as they have plenty of money and they plan to try and drink the island dry within the 2 weeks of our stay. And of course Islay is rather famous for an incident involving His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales. Some of you may know that he was involved in a flying incident, flying a British Aerospace BAE 146. I've flown this beast and it can be a bit of a challenge. The aircraft overran its landing and its nose undercarriage failed and broke away on the rough ground, just beyond the end of the runway. It is reported that the aircraft touched down on its nose wheel some 1,500 feet down the runway, opposite of me then. It was travelling 32 knots too fast with a 12-knot tailwind. It's understood the wheel brakes were then applied before full activation of the anti-skid protection system, causing both the main inboard main wheels to lock and subsequent failure of their tyres. There were no reported injuries. It is understood that the pilot handling the aircraft at the time of the accident was His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales, who was attending a series of engagements in the islands at the time. It is reported that the Board of Inquiry found the captain negligent in that he failed to intervene when the aircraft performance and limitations were exceeded in the final stages of the flight.
Amherst 1732, turn right heading 250.
Turning right 250 and acknowledge.
Right heading 250, Amherst 1732. Amherst 1732, turn right heading 280.
Turning right 280 and acknowledge.
Turn right heading 280, Amherst 1732.
So that just goes to prove that accidents can happen to anybody, royalty included. So as we turn towards the Isle of Islay, I can already feel anxiety levels are beginning to increase. Let's just hope it's a good one. So if we look at the airport information for Islay, we can see that runway 31 is over 5,000 foot long, so that should be plenty long for us.
Amherst 1732, descend 2,100.
Descend 2,100
And maintain 2,100.
and acknowledge.
Amherst 1732.
So I'm expecting to stay at 2,100 feet until the approach. We are descending at about 1,000 feet per minute, so I'm happy with that. And still the flight looks remarkably smooth. Now, as this is a visual approach, I'm expecting the airport to be at the roughly 1 to 2 o'clock position. So it's just a case now of keeping my eyes peeled until I see the airport. So 11 miles at 1 o'clock. That's the position I expected it to be, so that's good. Just a case of now, can I see the airport? Lowering flaps. As expected, the aircraft gains a little bit of height until the flaps come down. Now I can just see the red pappy lights on the left hand side, so that looks like it's the airport. It does mean we are a bit too low.
Average 1732, have the runway in sight. Average 1732, you are 8 miles southeast to San 2100, cleared visual, runway 31, approach. Switch to advisory on 122.9.
Lowering landing gear.
Descend and maintain 2100, cleared visual, runway 31, approach. Advisory on 122.9, average 1732.
Now, as Islay doesn't have a tower, we have to tune to the advisory channel.
Islay, traffic, average 1732, 7 miles southeast, inbound, visual, runway 31.
Now, normally by now I'd be nice and lined up on the runway, but as you can see I'm not, so I'm going to cheat slightly and use the autopilot just to get us in a better line. That's looking a bit better, still too low, so hold on to your hats.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now about to land. Please remain seated until the seatbelt sign has been turned off.
This is turning out to be a bit of a roller coaster approach. I can see one red and one white pappy light, so we're actually at the correct height. We may make it after all. Autopilot disengaged. I have control of the aircraft. Prepare for brace positions. Reducing power slightly. Now we're too low. 500 feet to go. We want to decrease our rate of descent. That's better. I don't think we're going to land short this time. Let's try and flare the aircraft. Maximum reverse thrust. Too much maximum reverse thrust. keeping it on the tarmac would be a good idea. Happy with the touchdown itself, not with the application of the reversers. First time I've used them, and I think I definitely used too much reverse thrust. End up giving the passengers severe whiplash probably. Flaps can come up. So we will taxi down to the end of the runway, and then I believe we turn right towards the terminal, if you can call it that. More like a hut. Well, I'm kind of relieved I got it down in one piece. Not one of my best landings by a long way. At least we didn't end up in the sea. And I didn't hear any cracking of broken bones. Mind you, I await the casualty report from Chelsey. So we should be turning to the right very shortly. Vacating the runway. And we need to stop while we clean up the aircraft. Landing lights off, taxi lights on. And so we begin what could well be one of the longest taxis back to the terminal. Performing this taxi kind of reminds me of a flight I once took using EasyJet from Luton to Amsterdam. Got on the plane at Amsterdam, and 20 minutes later we were still taxiing. I think Tappers Airways, like EasyJet, end up having the gate that's furthest away. That's something I'm going to have to rectify for the next flight. Maybe we could have done the cabin service today with beers, wine, spirits and peanuts. We could have done it on the taxi run instead. It will probably be another 3 to 4 minutes before we arrive at the terminal, so I expect the passengers are beginning to get a little bit restless. Can't wait to get out of the plane, more than like.
Gentlemen, welcome to Islay. Please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the aircraft comes to a complete stop and the seatbelt sign is switched off. Before leaving the aircraft, please ensure you have all items, personal hand luggage, checking the seat pockets, the overhead lockers and also the area around your seat. Do take care when opening the overhead lockers, as items may move in flight. Please continue to observe the non-smoking sign. May I remind you that within accordance with UK law, smoking is not permitted within any public building. Please take care when disembarking the aircraft steps, as they may be slippery and narrower than you're used to. The handrail should be used, hand luggage held securely, and any passengers with small children should hold their hands. Mobile phones and portable electronic devices may be used in aircraft mode once the doors have been opened. On behalf of Captain Tappers and myself, we hope you've enjoyed your flight with us today, and we look forward to welcoming you on board Tappers Airways again soon. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.
Seeing that we have acres of time, now would be a good time for me to tell you what add-ons I've used in this flight. The Beechcraft B1900D is by Carenado. The sound set is by Turbine Sound Systems, and I highly recommend them. Traffic is provided by Ultimate Traffic 2. Weather by Active Sky 16, and Scenery by Orbx for Orbx Scotland, and UK 2000 for Glasgow. And And as you can see, the terminal is now finally in sight. Now I don't think they have any official parking positions here, so I'm probably going to put it to the right. Being very careful not to run anybody over or chop them up with my propeller blades. Minding the rather expensive jet on the left hand side. I think this will do rather nicely. Shutting down engines. Seatbelt sign off. Time to open the door and let the passengers that can walk rush to the bar. Avionics master set to off. Generators and battery also set to off. And that's the aircraft all shut down, ready for leg 7, which will be going to our last Scottish destination of Edinburgh. Now just to collect my flight log and find out what Chelsey was talking about earlier.
Captain, all passengers have left the plane.
Plane looks all intact, that's good. Well, I'm off to the bar with Chelsey for a drink, and I'll see you on the next flight. Thanks so much for joining me today, it really means a lot. Do take care.